What's up everyone, my name is Josh V, and today I wanted to talk about my Razor MX650, which is essentially a mini electric pit bike that I've had for about 4 years now, since 2019. Now really, this bike is made for kids, but I picked it up and had a blast riding it over the years. Now at the beginning of this video, the bike is completely stock besides the custom seat I made for it with a memory foam pillow and fabric. I'll put photos of the bike before the seat I made. Now I know it looks kinda goofy with the seat, but believe me, if you're an adult, you need to mod a better seat as the stock seat is horrifically hard and will have your butt hurting within minutes. The custom seat I made makes a world of difference. I can actually ride comfortably now, so it's kinda worth the goofy look. The stock bike comes with a 650 watt motor, which is good for kids to start with, and I haven't upgraded it at all. I weigh 145 pounds and it pulls me around alright for what it is, but I honestly definitely would recommend either upgrading it or getting a much better bike, as stock speeds are about 15 miles per hour with weak torque. You can easily find modding videos on YouTube that walk you through the whole process, but I decided to not bother as I'm going to be getting a better bike soon, since now there's actually a selection. However, if you do mod it, there's tons of options for power, speed, battery life, and more. The MX650 seems to be extremely moddable and there's quite an active community for it.
Woo! Did a nice slide on my rear tire right there. Ah! Ooh. I just caught my foot. Oh. Oh. Fallen tree, I caught my foot right on the tip of that. Oh. And it like pushed my foot back into that. Oh, that hurt.
After this first run, hitting all those speed bumps, the cheap rear spring shock has finally broke, which is very impressive given I have been jumping this thing since 2019. I actually found an old clip of me riding it my first year back when I was building a track in my yard before I had to move. This was completely stock back then and was a ton of fun. It managed to handle 145 pound rider weight pretty well, even on jumps. So anyway, now I had to replace the rear shock and opted to go with a much longer spring shock with rebound control. I believe the stock shock is around 160 millimeters or less in length eye to eye, and this new shock is 200 millimeters in length eye to eye, giving it a much taller stance in the rear. Sadly, the D&M shock I chose has a 750 pound resistance spring, which seems to be the standard for mountain bike shocks, and I'm currently working on getting a 550 pound spring to swap with it as it's extremely stiff. Given the new height in the rear, it ended up making the front fork feel really short, so I picked up a simple spring and bolt mod off Amazon that you can easily just search up on there if you happen to have a Razor for the front shock to give it a 3-inch lift. But what I also did was add 2 rubber grommets, 3 washers, and a spacer to each of the bolts inside the front shocks to not only dampen the horrible clanking sound the stock front shocks make, but to also lower it back down a good 1.5 inches so it wasn't sitting too tall. Now the front fork mod isn't installed yet in the video until later when I decided to pick up a shovel and make a mini berm in the trail I recently found. I managed to make a really nice and small berm that allowed me to rail the turn at full throttle, and it was really fun. However, sadly, I later found out this was someone's walking trail for their dogs, and I ended up taking it back down and fixing the path. Not upset or surprised though, as the path was already there. I just never seen anyone walking it before. My intent isn't to bother anyone. I'm actually just trying to find a spot that I could build a bike track away from everyone, but not too far from my apartment. There's a sad reality that when I had to move and lost having my yard to work and ride in, I was going to be facing the struggle of finding a new place to build a track. And sadly, when you live in an apartment, you don't get the joy of owning a yard to play in. Ah man, I seriously miss having a real house and yard. And moving into an apartment has definitely taken a chunk out of my mental health, but I'll take that over being homeless again. Anyway, I wanted to make this video to kick off my new channel that will be based around electric pit bikes, as I find them really fun, or electric vehicles in general because I find them really interesting. Hopefully I'll be able to make the kind of content I want, but I know until I have my own yard, I won't be able to full send making tracks or trails the way I would want. I think it would be really cool making videos about building motocross tracks for electric pit bikes and more, heck maybe even a speed track for my mini street bike. Maybe one day I'll find myself in a better place and will be able to make the content I dream of, but I know that will just take time. Anyway, I'm not really sure who this video is for. I guess it's for other people like myself who for some reason really like electric pit bikes or electric vehicles in general. Believe me, if I had money, I'd probably get a Surron Ultra B right now, but I can't afford that. Yeesh. If you made it this far, thank you for watching and joining me on this little adventure. I would love to know your thoughts on these kinds of topics with electric bikes and vehicles. What do you think of channels that focus on these things? What kind of content would you like to see? You know, stuff like that. If you happen to also like these things, tell me about it. Anyway, I'm rambling, so I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.